Hello, empowered woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today, I had the pleasure of talking to Shae LEONARD, PA and health coach, who spent years struggling with health issues and finally found her answers in functional medicine. We talk about the importance of advocating for your own health, dietary changes, and even personal development for improving your health. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Shae. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Marta, thank you so much. I'm so excited. Thanks for having me on.
I am too. And I do have to share that we connected through one of your podcast pitch assistants, somebody that messaged me and shared your story. And I do want to say that I get lots of emails. I have been receiving several a day at this point with having a show for almost 3 years. And I've been coming up with different ways of showcasing women because obviously I can't interview everyone, but I do honor the interest of, people taking the time to leave a review on the show and, that are listening and that want to support the work that I'm doing. But usually I end up selecting people that I've met personally, or if the story really stands out, which yours did. So something for us to keep in mind, or for anyone wanting to be on the show to keep in mind, is that, giving us those little interesting details that set you apart makes all the difference in the world for somebody that has a show and considering a guest. So thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to learn a little bit more about you. So tell us, who is Shae and what are you all about?
Thank you so much. My story, I know you have a little glimpse of this, so I can share a little bit with the listeners that it's been really wild and up and down. I've always loved medicine. I always wanted to pursue medicine since I was little. My aunt's a physician. She's a pediatrician. I just knew that it was going to be a part of my life. So ever since I was little, I wanted to be a doctor. Well, around the age of 14, 15 years old, I started having really bad menstrual issues. And as you know, talking about your period, honestly, doctors asking you about it just didn't happen. I started having really severe issues with my menstrual cycle. And that really went on for years. I actually started having seizures during my menstrual cycle, and no one knew really what to do with them. I started seeing neurologists and many specialists, and no one seemed to care that it was on my menstrual cycle. No one asked me anything about it. It was just like completely separate things, even though it was only during that time. Wow. And so I really struggled with that for years and years. Also, definitely having a really poor diet and anxiety and very, very high stress, type A performer type person, and really going through that. Then I started experiencing gut health issues and anxiety and depression and horrible acne everywhere. Like, clearly all these things, there's something going on, right? And no one ever asked me, what are you eating? I grew up on honey buns and Dr. Pepper. We didn't know, right? We didn't know. We ate Little Debbie like all the time. We didn't understand that there was a chance that was really impacting me. And so, of course I got on birth control pill. It didn't help me, anyways, years and years of this stuff. And so I still wanted to pursue medicine. So kind of in the midst of my own health crisis, I went through school and got into PA school as a junior in college. In my undergraduate, I knew that's what I wanted to do. Went through PA school all while still experiencing these health issues myself, and really not getting any help, kind of just putting it on the wayside, trying to honestly ignore it. No one really knew I was going through all that stuff. I was very hidden. I did have fear and shame about it. I couldn't drive in high school a lot of times. I couldn't drive myself because I was having these seizures, so I wasn't allowed to drive, right? Just like different things, but no one knew. I kept it very hidden. And so anyways, became a PA, started my first job in pediatrics, and it got worse. I got really sick all the time, being exposed to viruses and sick kiddos and everything. And so, I got chronic mono, and then I got flu multiple times, and strep and norovirus and all these viruses. I was sick and miserable. And I remember my breaking point. I was sitting in my car. I literally started crying. Like, I don't want to be a PA anymore. Like, I can't do this. I'm miserable. I can't take care of 35 patients a day when I myself have not found help. And it really was to that point where I said, there's got to be something different. What am I missing? Prescription meds aren't helping me. I feel terrible every day. I'm young. Like, where am I going to be in 5 years? I remember having the thought, telling my husband, like, I want kids, but I can't imagine doing it. Like, I feel so bad every day. Like, and it makes me emotional thinking how back to that point of how horrible and lost I felt. And so I found functional medicine, and I met a functional medicine pharmacist. She's a PharmD provider, and for the first time felt heard and seen and listened to and encouraged to stop apologizing for everything, to embrace my womanhood and stop being in fear and shame, and take my menstrual cycles for signals from the body telling me that there's dis-ease in the body. These are happening for a reason. Where is it coming from? And then someone to say, I feel confident that we can help figure this out by doing these things. We've never changed your diet. We've never done any testing. No one's really dove into that for you. And it changed my life. It changed my life. And she's an amazing good friend of mine, and I will cherish and love her forever. And I ultimately decided then and there that I wanted to pursue functional medicine as a PA. I was still practicing in psychiatry. At this point, I had been practicing as a PA in conventional medicine psychiatry for about 5 years or so, and was able to, and I loved it. I loved that. And started pursuing functional medicine. And now I'm exclusively doing that. My health, truly, it can't be any better. Mental, physical, spiritual health has been all changed. And it wasn't on prescription drugs. It was on dietary changes and living a healthy lifestyle, and working through fear and limiting beliefs of myself, and allowing my body to heal, and knowing that it had that power. And of course we have ups and downs, and I still experience ups and downs, but I'm so much more resilient and can handle so much more, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's what functional medicine did for me. And I was like, that's it. I'm sold. I went to functional medicine school. I'm finishing up my second year right now, and started my online health functional medicine business. And I'm working with amazing women every day that I get so pumped and excited to see and chat with. Like, it makes me emotional. I love them. We spend every week together. And we do it for 6 months, and we go through everything. And I feel so much passion because I've totally been there. And so that's where we're at. That's a little bit about me.
Oh, I love that so much. And especially, hearing that rough start, which is usually hitting that rock bottom of, I don't know what's going on, that we have this realization of there's got to be something else. And then we start looking. And I resonate in so many ways with the whole concept of going to doctors, not really finding the answers, and not really feeling like they cared, because you're just another one. And it's like, let me give you whatever answer I can just to hold you, keep you, holding until we get to see you again. And for me, it was because of my irregular cycles, and then leading up to going to an actual fertility doctor and ending up with triplets. So that was my journey. But I totally resonate with that, because I feel like, and with our generation of women, which I'm assuming we're close to the same age, our parents didn't really know what all we know right now. And it's really, they were doing the best that they could, and they were really thinking that it wasn't going to cause any issues. And then with new research and new information, we know better now. And just not having the same type of care, even with medicine, which I'm not sure it's changed a whole lot in terms of the traditional of asking those questions or being able to question certain things and get other opinions. And I have had, I would say, a handful of guests that said that they have found in like alternative medicine or in like, it's been funny that a few of them have said it was in talking with my chiropractor that I
Mhm.
found this other world and that it changed my life. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of amazingness there, and something to consider when you think, especially the connection between your body and your emotions. I love that you mentioned that, because oftentimes it's just like, what are your symptoms? Let's figure something out to treat it. And it's not really a deep dive into where did this start, and holistic, right? What else are you doing in your life that could be impacting that? And I love that you brought all of that up. And it's also because of it's your experience. So you help women that are maybe going through something similar or different, but the
Mhm.
basis of, let's look at all the areas and see, let's experiment here and see what changes we can make that will make a difference. So that is amazing. Tell me more about what are the specific issues that usually women are experiencing that they will look for your help, and or is there a specific thing that you focus on to help women with?
Yes. And like I mentioned, I do all functional medicine in all different areas, but I do, of course, have my specialties that I really enjoy. And that's just who I tend to attract. And I feel very aligned with that. And so I'm happy with that. First and foremost, mental health. Because I've practiced in psychiatry for so many years. And I actually was blessed to work in an integrative practice where we did genetic testing. We talked about nutrients, and I learned a lot about that, where it's not just an SSRI for every single symptom, that, there's something else. It's just still a signal from the body. And so mental health, I'm so passionate about it. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of patients over these years working with anxiety, depression, mood issues. Optimizing their diet by far is the most impactful. Working on their gut health by far is the most impactful. And so mental health is a big thing. I have a lot of clients and women that I see that have struggled with anxiety or depression symptoms or mood instability. And that's a big part of my program. We spend a lot of time working on mindset and coping skills and emotional resilience, and not identifying with those type of disease states and taking them as signals and symptoms to work through and finding where they came from. So mental health, and definitely hormones, also because of my passion and experience in hormones. I took an extra class and course with my functional medicine provider, who's a hormone guru. And so she's taught me everything I know about hormones as well. So menstrual irregularities, preconception, fertility concerns and issues, perimenopause, menopause. I also see some young ones. I have a 17-year-old I see with hormone things. And so I wish I had someone at that point. That would have been a game changer for me. And so any and all hormone issues, including thyroid and cortisol, stress, and those type of things, I focus on a lot. And gut, digestion. So all of it's connected, which is why I love it. But mental health, gut, and hormones, those are my specialties. And most of my clients I see have a few or one of those dynamics at play.
Okay, gotcha. And so what would be like some of the first steps for someone that, I guess, just thinking in general, maybe most people are very unaware of what's going on, and that's because they don't have the information, or because they just want that quick fix, or they just think there is no hope. So why even bother looking for an answer? It's just like, this is what I have to deal with. My mother had it, my grandma had it, or whatever it is that may come up. What are some like warning signs or things that you could pinpoint for us, for women to start paying attention and looking for, to say, well, I need to seek help from somebody that can really treat this or point me in the right direction? Because like you mentioned, at times with traditional medicine, you may not get that help, or at least the incentive to dig into certain things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that question, because that's so important. Because if we can address these small little symptoms that we're experiencing early on, we can prevent autoimmune disease. We can prevent chronic disease.
Wow.
We can diabetes, and all of thyroid issues long term. Unfortunately, and not everyone, I've practiced in conventional medicine for years. I know fabulous doctors and PAs that practice in conventional medicine that don't miss this stuff. But unfortunately, it happens a lot where, thyroid labs are run and they look normal, but they're nowhere near optimal. And we literally get told you're good for another year. Let's wait for it to get worse. Then we'll put you on medicine. Like what? Or, same for, oh my gosh, well, anything basically, but thyroid hormone issues. Let's just see diabetes. People can be trending to insulin resistance for 10 years. And if that had been addressed 10 years ago in lifestyle changes, we wouldn't be just waiting to get put on prescription meds. So some different things. First, bowel movements. Every single client I see is constipated. Almost every single one of them. I, for one, experienced that and thought it was normal. No one told me you needed to go 1 to 2, 2 to 3 normal bowel movements a day. Didn't know that. That's a simple detox capability that needs to happen every single day. It's not discussed. It's not asked. All of my psychiatric patients I used to see were constipated, every single one of them. And we have to address that. That's a huge deal. So early signs, constipation or diarrhea, or just, irregular bowel movements is a huge one. Fatigue. A lot of times in this society, we're running around crazy. We're busy all the time. We're mamas, we're entrepreneurs, all sorts of different things. And we just kind of like tell ourselves it's normal to be fatigued and exhausted all the time. And it's just not, we should be able to do these things. I mean, gosh, think about our ancestors. Like they would run for their life and walk like miles and miles and do all this stuff up till elderly age.
Right.
Well, it's different stress, but it's still stress on the body. We should be able to handle most of the things that we come in contact with. Now, our balance is way off, and that's a whole nother story. But in general, over fatigue, over anxiety, very, very common early symptoms that something's not going right. Acne, gut issues. I have countless people, I just feel bloated. I'm just kind of bloated, or my stomach hurts, or after I eat, every time I get bloated and acid reflux. I lived like that for years. Didn't think, it was my husband who was like, it's not normal to have gas and bloating every day. I'm like, okay, through PA school and everything, and so those are some really early warning signs. And of course, our menstrual cycle, women specifically, it gives us an eye into our soul and our mind, everything, our body. And having a horrible emotional week before your cycle where you're just anxious and depressed and moody, it's not normal. Is it common? Yes. Is it normal? No. Experiencing debilitating cramps, common? Yes. Normal? No. We should be able to really manage that, and honestly, and have it be regular as well. Skipping months and months is a sign, a signal that there's something going on, whether it's progesterone deficiency and estrogen dominance and all the toxins we're exposed to, and so many different dynamics at play, thyroid and stress. But a menstrual cycle that is obviously sometimes not the best thing ever. I try to think of it as, I try to embrace it for sure. And gosh, my intuition's heightened during my cycle, and I love that. And, focus on those type of things. But in general, it should not be the worst 2 weeks of your life. It really shouldn't be. If it is, then there's a lot of different dynamics at play. Your body's trying to tell you, hey, there's something off.
Oh, these are so good. And I'm sure lots of people are going to resonate with some of them. And hopefully they're going to go look to you for some answers or start digging into a little bit more. And well, one of the things I wanted to ask you, with it being Women's History Month, and because I'm all about the empowerment, which you pretty much covered it, but I would love to hear a specific answer from you. How do you believe you are empowering women with this work that you do?
I am trying to give their voice back, because I felt like I didn't have a voice. And this is really in health in general, but specifically women. I think we go into doctors' offices or specialists and we just kind of listen to what they say, and we don't advocate for ourselves and say, hey, my intuition is telling me there's something off. I feel that there's more to this story. And to feel comfortable standing up for yourself and advocating for yourself as a patient, but specifically women, I love to empower them. And even in my program, you chose me, but I tell my clients over and over, I want you, this just only works based on trust. And I am not here to dictate and tell you what to do. It's going to be a conversation always.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is what's going on. These are some recommendations. How do you feel about that? Does that resonate with you? What's your intuition say? Do you have any concerns about that? Like, let's work together and empower you.
Yeah.
This is your health. This
Yeah.
is our health. And you know your body better than I will ever know it. And I want to really encourage that. And so I love encouraging women to use their intuition and their amazing powers to listen to their body and advocate and stand up for themselves and their health.
Yeah. I love that you said the intuition piece, because I think especially us moms, we get that, but not to apply to ourselves most times. And I think becoming a mom has a way of reminding yourself of the things that you're able to do for yourself too. Because if you're doing it for somebody else because you're responsible for them and you would do anything for them, then that means you can do the same for you. And it's actually a really good idea to start with yourself, because then you're in a better state to be able to take care of the ones that you're responsible for. So that just really, struck a chord with me there of, it's so much easier to be like, it's okay, I'll just schedule this next year. I'll go look into this next year. And for the kids, it's like, I'm going to call right now and I'm going to figure out what's going on, because this can't stay this way. But we're not even doing this with ourselves. So having somebody to remind us to do that is really important, because at the end of the day, you can't do it for them, but you can remind them and encourage them to develop this ability of advocating for themselves. I love that so much. So great. All right. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do my little rapid fire questions for you. So I'm just going to say a few phrases. So it's 5 of them that are part of my Empowered Woman path. And let me know what comes to mind. We'll see. It's always fun to see what people come up with. Are you ready?
Yes.
So the first one is notice yourself.
Notice yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What comes to mind when I notice myself?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sweating.
Are you nervous because you don't look it?
Yeah, I'm like, I have this lamp on and I'm sweating. That's what's coming to mind first thing right now.
Well, and that's self-awareness, right? And the lights, I don't know if you're using a ring light or it just.
Yeah, I am. And they make you sweat.
Super sweaty, yes. But you look amazing. It's not coming through. Not that anyone can see.
Oh, just a glisten.
Just a glisten. There you go. Next one is listen to yourself.
I love that one. We actually just spoke on that one quite a bit. I love to do this. It makes me think of meditation, which is just one of my favorite things to do, is just sit and don't have any agenda, especially if you're going through something. Listen to your body, listen to what it's telling you, listen to your intuition. It's probably one of my favorite things to do, and one of the definitely big practices I try to teach my clients to do every day.
Amazing. Next is forgive yourself.
Same thing. This is so important. This is part of something I call my power of placebo in my mindset section that I go through with my clients. But one of my favorite things to forgive myself for and teach my clients is having a negative thought. So, when you have a negative thought come in, be aware of it and forgive yourself immediately, and then reframe it. And really, those are the 3 steps. And so when I think forgive yourself, that's always my association and correlation is, I had I experienced a negative thought due to a negative experience. I forgive myself for that. Actually, I'm thankful that I had it, because I know it's not true. It's not what I want. And now I can reframe and think about it in a different perspective.
I love that you said I'm thankful for that. That's not something that usually comes to mind for us when we think something negative. We're so quick to judge ourselves and beat ourselves up. But part of that gratitude really is the forgiveness. I always like to say the forgiveness and gratitude are 2 sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. Beautiful. Next one, empower yourself.
Empowering. So that's what everything is about, is empowering women, empowering ourselves, empowering others, and taking, for me, health away from a fear, shame, and guilt to a educational, inspirational, empowering type feeling, where you feel like you can take charge of your health again, and you can be an advocate for your health and not feel like such a victim to your health and your circumstances and your symptoms, because you've been told that there's no hope. Instead, taking back and feeling empowered changes everything. I know for me personally in my journey, when someone just told me, like, don't say yes to that. Like, no, say no to health issues. Like, no, I'm not going to have those issues anymore. And this is how I'm going to manage it. It was like, wait, I don't have to live in fear. I can feel empowered. So it's amazing.
Yes, understanding that you have the power of choice and
Yes.
that you can control what's within your control. So let's figure out what that is and do something about it, not stay in the victimhood
Yeah.
mentality. And last but not least, transform yourself.
Transforming is the whole point of what we do, right? When we grow and when we think and when we challenge and we empower, it's all to transform. That's what it's really about. And how can we transform ourselves, and knowing that it encompasses spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health all together. It's not one without the other. That's what transformation means, and that's how you can transform others, which for me, that's the goal. Of course, I want to transform myself,
Yeah.
but how now can I transform others and kiddos and your friends and your family and clients and patients and all of that? You have to transform yourself first. And
Yes. Yes. And that's what was really rewarding, is knowing that somebody was able to make a change because of you, right? That you're able to make a difference with your voice. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing such amazingness, Shae, with us. Let us know how we can find you if you have anything coming up for us to know and go check out.
perfect. I am taking still selective amount of one-on-one concierge clients. They see me weekly for 6 months. We do amazing functional medicine testing. We dive into everything we just talked about, mindset and placebo, and then specific things. You know, if we got gut microbial overgrowth, all that stuff, we'll dive into toxins. And you can find that information on my website, www.shaeleonard.com. And on social media, Instagram's where I hang out mostly, at Shae Leonard.
Amazing. I'll have all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Shae. This was great.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I am so happy you tuned in today. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to connect with Shae. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, bye.